Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Welcome
We're
back.
back to do another review for The Curse of Oak Island. This is for episode 24.
Season 8.
There you go. So it's this episode was it was all right. It was
Alright, I think. Well, yeah, I guess
You
you
mean
can put it that
they
way.
found some small items that were really cool, but nothing, nothing was tremendous. Like Gary found a bag seal that they would use to, you put stuff in, it would kind of seal the bag shut. And they supposedly they can try to tie it to a time period or a group of, or because it had like an emblem on it or something engraved on. So they had to try to research it and figure out what what's the name? What's the guy's name? Laird, was he able to figure it out?
Laird Nevin.
Yeah, he was still researching, wasn't he?
Yeah, you're talking about the gun thing, right? That goes on the back of the gun.
No, from some of the other thing.
Oh, that thing, no, he's still looking at that.
So yeah, they also, oh, that's right. So they also found what they call it, a gun guard or something.
It's
Trigger guard.
I'm assuming it's like when it fires or something, like it doesn't hit you in the face or something. I'm not sure. I'm not a gun expert, so I have no idea what it was used for. But it kind of seemed like it was an important discovery, because Gary was saying that it was from like between like the 1700s
Yeah.
to like the 1800s or something, and that this thing was made in, I think, the southwestern of France or something, in France or whatever. And basically, it was the British brought it over here. The British somehow got in the hands of it, which I'm not sure how. So I thought that was a pretty cool discovery. And I think the most important one, which Rick found when he was digging the road up.
What was that base thing?
Yeah, he found, so these, it had the number 4 on it, a cross, and Laird Nevin research. He did his research, whatever it is, and basically he was explaining that this thing could date back as far as like the 1400s, all the way up until like the 1800s.
Yeah.
So, and basically, he was also saying that if a father and a son were around at the same time, basically the son would add a seal on it or something, like a symbol on it, and basically it would be passed down to future generations.
Yeah.
But they're not sure, because even though they found 2 letters on the back of it, I think it said like EF or something like that. So they're not sure like who this might have belonged to, but they do know this was something that belonged in a family to be passed down to future generations.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Nothing really major happened at the road this week, except they're saying it's still going upland towards the original money pit area.
Yeah, they decided to kind of go up a ways. They kind of skipped over an area and try to see if they could find more evidence of the road going up towards the money pit. So that's kind of like they really hadn't found anything yet, but they were excavating at the time, so they haven't really found anything yet in that area. But they skipped a bunch of area to just kind of because they're running out of time and the weather and everything, that they figured if they can find it, they would give them more proof that it's going up that direction instead of slowly getting up to that area. They just jumped ahead, a few yards to try to figure it out and make it a little bit easier for them.
Yes. And another thing I almost forgot to mention was when they were talking about the seal that Rick found. They also made a sort of a theory, a connection theory, about the Knights Templar. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not that. What am I? I'm not thinking right today. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the plate that Aaron and Miriam found.
Yeah.
The plate, and basically they found this. What kind of plate do they call it? It's like a creamware plate.
Yeah, creamware plate.
And basically, they were saying that it might be related to the Knights Templar, because they were saying that, I guess, when they would come to islands or territories or whatever it might be, that's what they would have with them, is these cream plates or whatever they are. But you know how, they jump right to conclusion. Oh yeah, it's from the Knights Templar, even though they don't really know.
It could have been from the people who lived on the island. They don't, they like you said, they immediately jump to the more glamorous conclusion. Oh, it's from the Knights Templar. Well, they really have no idea if that's what it came from.
Well, the reason why they jumped to that conclusion is because the narrator on the show was talking about how when they digged up Smith's Cove, which I think was last season, right? When they were digging up Smith's Cove, they were saying, oh, it's somehow connected to the leg cross they found. I don't really understand it, but basically they think, oh yeah, it came from the Knights Templar from like the 1300s or something. But, we can't confirm that because, there's just not really that much evidence to prove it.
Yeah, there's more investigation needs to happen with that. So just more theories.
And then you have Dr. Ian Spooner and his colleagues conducting a water test. So they wanted to, at the money pit they were digging, and Dr. Ian Spooner wanted to see if there was silver in the ground, because he was saying, silver, copper, and zinc, those type of things, they basically like crumble and then they just get all dusty.
Yeah, they corrode and then they kind of stay in the water until they can find their way out through some other way.
So they got I think 2 samples they did, and they sent it off to get it tested. And then at the end of the episode, they had the meeting, and basically Dr. Ian Spooner was basically confirming that there was presence of. They showed it in the meeting on Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, they had like a chart.
Yeah, and then basically they showed it had mercury in it, and they did confirm that there were some high spikes of silver in it, along with zinc and copper. And I kind of love the joke of how he asked Marty and Rick, do you guys believe there's treasure in the ground? And Rick's like, yeah, a little bit. And
yeah, he's like, oh, small chance. And of course, which one? It was
Marty.
Was it Marty? Marty said small chance, and Rick said yes, absolutely. So
and
he
then,
really believes
and
there's
then,
treasure there.
He goes on saying, okay, well, we did the test. The test shows that there is high spikes of silver in the water. And so who was it? Doug Kroll.
Yeah.
Doug Kroll asked Dr. Ian Spooner how much silver could possibly be in the ground, and he basically said about a truck size worth of it. So basically, like, imagine like a pickup truck, and then filled to the very top.
Just you tell Ricky Marty that there's truck size
Billy Gerhardt
thing of silver. I mean,
and basically he was saying that if there's silver down there, then basically they're not that far away from the treasure, which is other things, like gold, emeralds, diamonds, stuff like very valuable.
I still want to know if this actually is true. How these people will manage to bury this treasure so deep underground when even now they can't get at it. So
that's the thing I've always.
180 feet underground, supposedly. So how did they get it that deep? I don't see.
Because the thing, that's something I'm sure not just us two want to figure out, but I'm sure the other viewers that probably watch the show probably say the same thing. Like how on earth can someone bury treasure this deep in the ground? Because if you wanted to do that, you would need like a lot of digging, and I mean a ton of digging to get it really, really deep.
Yeah, I know with time things change with erosion and whatnot, but it's still like that's deep. Like how would you get dig a pit full of money, 180 feet or whatever is
Yeah.
underground. I don't understand how it was able to happen.
And especially that throughout the seasons, they keep talking about these different groups. I mean, like I said, like they keep talking about the Knights Templar. They talked about they were talking about in this season something to do with the Pilgrims, and then the British, then the French, and then whoever else it might be. But like, I don't like who like. First of all, like, there's still no answer as to who could have buried this treasure. We don't know that. There's no real answer to that yet.
Yeah.
And the second answer is why. Like, why would they want to bury this valuable treasure on Oak Island? And why specifically Oak Island? Because in the world itself, there's 1,000 different islands. But why would you pick this specific one?
I don't know why they picked this specific, but I suppose it's to keep the treasure out of their enemies' hands. So I don't know.
It's definitely heating up though, for sure. Because I mean, obviously next week is the season finale of the show. I'm not sure if history is going to renew it for another season.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. That's usually they do, because I've been hearing they're filming the current season now, so I'm assuming we'll see season 9. I think.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get annoyed with the episodes of them not finding any major treasure. I read a lot of stuff online and I see people. What was that? I read something the other day, the Curse of Joke Island. That's what I read. Because they don't find it. They talk and talk and they find small artifacts, but they never find anything major. So, and it's like more of the same. Although they have found large things like in the swamp and in Smith's Cove, like large, maybe not gold and treasure, but they found
tons of wood.
Stuff that needed to be solved, and people, like Smith's Cove had a ton of stuff in it. Once they dug it all up, there was no record of it. So that was really interesting. So
yes,
I think this season is just kind of one of those seasons that got lost because of the pandemic. Yeah. So I think that's having a major effect on what they really wanted to do. But I'm looking forward to the Copper Dam and the swamp next season, so they can try to dig up if there's actually really a ship or whatever under all that muck and everything. So
well, we actually forgot to talk about one more thing, and then we'll talk about what the preview show for next week. But then we forgot to talk about the money pit. There wasn't really that much activity over there.
Yeah.
So basically, the team was talking about man-made tunnels and shafts and stuff, and basically, the team was saying that one of the holes, I think it's like C9 or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then they were thinking, since they found a shaft there, they're thinking it connects over 50 feet. So they decided to dig up. I think it's like C5.11 or something. So they digged it down. They went, like 80 feet in the ground, and they found nothing. But then they thought they found something because the drill was acting weird, but they thought, oh, we found a tunnel. But it turns out when Charles was, looking at the clay and stuff, he's like, oh, the clay basically slipped or something, and that's what they thought was a tunnel, but the clay was slipping under the ground, and that's what caused the drill to act that way.
Yeah.
So the money pit, not much. They didn't really find. It was just clay and sand and dirt and whatever. So there's not really much activity over there. Now the finale for next week. So
is next week the final episode?
Yes,
the final episode of okay.
So next week is the season finale of Curse of Oak Island for season 8. So basically, it looks like the team found something incredible in the swamp, but they didn't really show what it was. All I can hear is the reactions like, "Oh my God, look at that!"
Yeah, that's they do that every week. A previous preview for the phone next week. It always looks like something major is happening, so you get your excited, and then you're watching. It's okay. They found a small piece of pottery with some paint on. That's great. That's pretty much it.
And then you have obviously they showed digging the road upward inland towards the money pit, and then they had a meeting in the war room about some things. I'm not sure what it was. They didn't really say what, but that's really overall it. And basically, can't believe the show is over now after next week.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait till next season. Hopefully next season is much better because like I said, some of these episodes can be kind of boring. You know, like there really isn't a whole lot going on. I mean, when you finding buttons and little pieces of leather, so it's really not that exciting.
Yeah.
So I think next year's going to be much better.
Hopefully, I think it will be since since the filming of that season should be now. I think because obviously the pandemic is starting to calm down. Vaccines are here and whatever, so they should be able to get a lot of equipment they wanted to in the next season because I'm sure a lot of the rules and quarantine rules are getting lifted in some areas around the world. But definitely going to look forward to next week, and hopefully they can find some major discoveries before they close it out.
Yeah, I think that's going to wrap this one up. If you guys like this video, have any thoughts, comments about this episode, put them on down below. As always, we appreciate you guys checking out this video. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe.
Until next time.